Hello everyone, my name is Triple S, and this is kind of a response video to anyone who argues that Master Chief is able to show the same amount of emotion with his helmet on as he would with his helmet off. I'm pretty sure it's obvious to everyone that that is untrue. If the Master Chief took off his helmet, he would be able to show more emotion. I'm not saying that he needs to take off his helmet to show emotion at all, just that if he did, he will be able to show more emotion. So, let's get into it. There are three main ways to convey emotion as I see it: body language, tone of voice, and facial expression. We have seen Master Chief use body language, we have heard Master Chief use tone of voice, but of course we have never seen Master Chief use facial expressions for the obvious reason that he always wears a helmet. Now, it is of course possible to convey emotion using only 2 out of 3 of these. Hell, in the case of all masked serial killers and masked aliens that don't speak, body language on its own works perfectly fine. But let me just show you something. Let's take one of the most emotional scenes of the series, Johnson dying in Chief's arms, where pretty much all of Chief's emotion is shown through his body language. Him kneeling down, grabbing Johnson's hand and putting his other hand on Johnson's shoulder. Then when Johnson dies, he lets Johnson's hand slip out of his own and he grips Cortana's chip. He dips his head slightly, then standing you can see his shoulders move as if he is sighing with the pain of having lost another comrade and friend. And besides saying he's going to get Johnson out, Chief doesn't say anything else, and you could argue him not saying anything counts as him conveying emotion through tone of voice, in that there is no tone as there is no voice. He's too choked up and speechless. But here's the thing though. Let's take this shot of Chief, and if I were to ask you what emotion Chief is showing here, the truthful answer should be, I don't know. Because all we can see is Chief's helmet, obviously giving off no emotion because it's just a helmet. His body isn't even really in shot, so you can't get anything from body language, and of course he isn't saying anything, so you can't get anything from tone of voice. Only way to get any idea of what emotions Chief is feeling here is to either know the context of the scene and assume, or project your own emotions onto Chief's emotionless visor. Only reason you know in this shot that Chief is upset about Johnson dying is because you know that is what's happening. That's the only reason. Show this to someone who doesn't know what's happening and they'd have no idea what Chief is feeling here. On the other hand, if you were to take this shot of Captain Del Rio shouting in Halo 4 and show it to someone, they'd assume he's angry, because they can see by his facial expression that he is shouting. Play them just the audio of Del Rio shouting, and again they would assume he's angry because he's shouting angrily. Stick a helmet on him though, with no audio, and you'd have no idea if he was angry, upset, happy, etc. Just a blank, emotionless slate. This shot, however, of Del Rio ordering Palmer to arrest Chief, looking at his body language but put a helmet on him and remove the audio, you can tell something's up, but you have to make a guess as to what he may be feeling. I mean, for all we know, he could be asking her to get Chief a weapon. Spoilers for the last episode of the first season of the Halo TV show. In this standoff between Silver Team, you can't see Riz and Vanek's faces, but by their body language and tone of voice, you can tell what they're feeling. Riz lowers her weapon, showing her doubt, and Vanek's tone of voice and his shaky arm, holding the gun aimed at Chief's head, shows his frustration and conflict. Again, this all works perfectly fine, but with the argument that they're able to show the same amount of emotion with their helmets on as they would with them off, it just isn't true. Look at Chief in this same scene. We don't really get a whole lot from him in terms of body language, so his emotion is conveyed through his tone of voice. He's pleading hope that Riz and Vanek will listen and believe him, and he's looking past the gun at Vanek, which we wouldn't be able to tell if he was wearing his helmet. Same with Kai. She's just standing there, not saying anything, her body out of shot, but you can tell by her facial expression that she's moved by what Chief is saying, but still worried Vanek is going to shoot him. Stick a helmet on her though, you'd have to make a guess based on context. Remove the context, and you'd have no idea at all what she's feeling. Thank you so much for watching. I just want to remind you all again that I'm not saying that Master Chief needs to take off his helmet to show emotion at all, just that if he did, he would be able to show more emotion. Just wanted to mention that again so I don't get any angry comments claiming I said otherwise. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on Twitter at @SSS_YouTube to be notified of when I release new videos going forward. Thank you again for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Goodbye.